Hey guys, how's it going? This is Deadly. Welcome back to another Q&A session, the video where I make once a week, where I read some of your guys' comments and do my best to answer them to the best of my ability. So let's get started. The first question comes from Mr. Wasson Dallos. Do you know of the DayZ El Dorado community and what do you think of it? It's a 6-man server on one hive with 2 donator servers. No, actually, I've never heard anything about it, so maybe next week, if you want to leave me some information, I could definitely look into it. Next question comes from Dindy. What was your best shot in DayZ? Which weapon, range, and target? I think the best shot I've ever landed in DayZ has to be the crossbow shot from 2015 when I was in Gorka, I believe. I know it wasn't that long away from a distance, and it was the crossbow, and a lot of people get crossbow kills all the time, but it was just something about the situation and actually being able to land and turn the tide of that battle while using a crossbow that I just still find exciting to this day. Next question comes from Siler. What would you like to see added in the game in the future? This is probably one of the most common questions that I get asked during the Q&A. So if you guys have heard this one before, then I'll try to remember to not do this one for next week. But probably the PE scope, which is the longer range optic that can be fitted on the Mosin and the SKS. And I actually got a chance to ask Brian Hicks this directly during a combat scrum discussion we had in late 2015. And he actually said no, but obviously I'm not ruling out anything. Maybe things might change in the future, or a modding optic might be added down the road. And I think the primary reason why the answer was no surrounding the PE scope is because it would make the SKS far too powerful in comparison to a lot of other weapons in the game, and also effectively making the CR527 obsolete. So there are reasons why certain pieces of equipment and weapons don't get introduced into the game for balancing reasons. The next question comes from Shifty Productions. Why is DayZ losing players? And I think everybody believes that, and that's just the general assumption that DayZ's player base is nowhere near where it was before. And although that is true, actually, in fact, DayZ isn't losing players. It's actually growing again. Here's actually a screenshot directly from Steam charts that shows an actual increase in player base over the past 4 months. So people are actually coming back to DayZ, which is an exciting thing to see. And you can see that on Twitch too, because more people are streaming on Twitch, more people are watching DayZ again on Twitch, which is exciting, especially for somebody who's actually creating content and streaming that game. Next question comes from Stefan S. And it's a long question, so I'll just kind of cut to it. Can you really earn a living by only streaming and making YouTube videos? Maybe I'm too old to know, but I have 2 children watching YouTube a lot, and one wants to be a full-time YouTuber. So what shall I tell him? Is it really possible to earn a living this way? Well, I wrote an article about that, and it's in the description box here, so I definitely recommend go reading that. But it is possible. Is it something that you should do and like start a YouTube channel and quit all aspirations to do? Definitely not. I started YouTubing before you could even monetize videos online. And I started streaming before there was a partnership program on Twitch. These are something that I've always been passionate about. I've always made videos since I've been an adult, basically. And even a young teenager, I've been making content online. So I've constantly been doing this. Sure, I had lots of other jobs. I went to university. I even had a massive career opportunity. But at the end of the day, I've always wanted to do this full time, and I've always done it. So even with everything else going on in my life, I always created videos. Even if they weren't the best, I still wanted to create something all of the time. And eventually, I got to the point where I could start making a few dollars, and I seen an opportunity, and I saved up thousands of dollars, and I mean thousands of dollars in my savings account. And I did a year full time, and that year was very eye-opening. It was a very challenging year, but it was a fun year, and I did it again. And although that year was extremely tough on me, and I lost a lot of money, it was also extremely rewarding, and I liked it. And this is what drives me to do this and continue to stream and create content. And in 2016, things changed completely. The broadcast started to grow in audience, the YouTube channel started to grow as well, and my hard work was finally taking off. I would say if you're sort of new to this whole thing, look at the same career path as a comedian. You can't just quit your day job if you've never done stand-up before. Same thing with YouTube. You can't just quit your day job if you don't have a YouTube channel and you want to become a YouTuber. It's something that you need to work at as a hobby, and if you can see a path open up where you could possibly do this full time and you actually start making money and you can see that if you put more time into it, there'll be more rewards, then you can decide that you'll go full time. But I mainly wrote that article specifically for young kids. So, and I don't think there's any like bad language in my article that I wrote. Now, I mean, you're going to have to double check it, but I would show them that it's not easy. It's over 55 hours a week, every single day, no days off. So just, it's not the easiest path, but it is the path that I've chosen, and it's the one that I feel most rewarding in a world full of different opportunities that I could have taken. Next question comes from White Death DayZ. How much influence do you and the other popular DayZ YouTubers have on the development of the game? I ask because I know a lot of people that have played with Brian Hicks himself, and I know if I ever played with him, I would be telling him so much shit to change. Well, number one, whenever you're playing with Brian, he's usually playing in his off time, and I'm sure the last thing he wants to hear in his spare time is people complaining about the game and bitching about bugs in an early access game. So the one time I had the pleasure of rolling with Brian, I just kind of wanted to keep it casual and keep it personal with him and not the development of DayZ. I don't think we have much influence on the actual development of DayZ. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. I don't think they would ever tell us if we did. I know that the developers do watch Twitch streams and they do use that for feedback. And maybe they do take some ideas whenever we don't know, but we would never know because they don't actually go out there and say, hey, we heard this guy talking about X and we implemented it into the game. And I don't think developers should be doing that. I mean, sure, they should take influence and inspiration from their communities, but ultimately, we're leaving this game's development up to them. And in my opinion, that's how it should be. Next question comes from Angelo. I haven't found good PvP anywhere else but Starry/Novi since 0.61's release. Where is everybody? Well, Staroy, Goglovo, Novi, Starry is one of the more popular areas to go to, as well as Gorka. But a lot of people are traveling that northern highway from Novo all the way across to Severograd, Navoya, and Tizzy. And even Kamensk military. There's really not that many people down in the southwestern regions of the map. There are a few, but it's not as popular as it once was. So if you're going around to Zelenogorsk and you're asking yourself, where's everybody at? I think you're just misunderstanding where people actually travel and where people spawn. The spawn limitations have changed the movement paths quite significantly. Since you can no longer spawn anywhere around Cherno, the closest is Western Electro, you're not going to be finding as many people running up to Nadestino and Rogovo as you once had before. Instead, more people are going to be going to Chinea Polana, Novo, and all those towns, and even Dubrovka and all the northeastern area of the map. So just keep that in mind. I think just try to keep on playing on full servers, and the military bases on private hives are always a good way of finding players because unlike on public, you need to go to the military camps on that particular server to get the gear. You can't just server hop all day. And so I would play on private hives. I think you'll find a better chance of finding people who aren't just camping in Cami. Next question comes from G. Rao. What do you think about the new player controller in DayZ? Well, we don't know too much about the new player controller in DayZ just yet, but from what I have seen, it's going to make especially half-body animations a lot smoother. So that would be eating and drinking on the run, which is now possible, and also using different other mechanics that are currently full-body lock animations. So it might make things a little bit smoother. Instant cancel of animations as well, like if you're drinking from a well, it can be very difficult to just start running away if you're getting shot at, and other things like that. You're going to have more control over your character. That's about all we know right now, and it's going to be interesting to see more 0.63 footage down the road whenever they're actually going to be introducing it. And they're also redoing the damage model as well, and that's something that I think is going to have a significant impact on the game that not that many people are actually talking about right now. The last question comes from Kamba TM8. Where do you find your magnums in DayZ? For me, it's really hard to find. Thanks. Well, that's not really an easy answer for you, unfortunately. They basically spawn in every residential building, so that's a lot of possibilities. My suggestion to you is, if you're looking for that gun specifically, start looking in towns that may not be looted as often and search every single possible building there. The more buildings you search, the higher the probability of you actually finding one, but there isn't any 100% sure way of actually finding that weapon, or really any weapon in DayZ currently. Well guys, that's it for this week's episode of Ask Deadly. I'm actually going to be rechanging the name of this weekly series because of you guys. You guys have basically named this Ask Deadly on your own, and I see it in the comment section in its very own hashtag. So let's just keep it going. If you guys want to leave me some questions for next week, leave a hashtag Ask Deadly in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer some of your guys' questions. Next week, I'll be reading the most recent comments first, so make sure that you guys are quick. And sometimes if I miss your question, be sure to leave it in the comment section below for next week, and I'll do my best to get to it. Have a fantastic day, guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning on the live stream every single morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. A link to that will be included in the description box below.